welcome to Artificial Insights, the podcast where all the content and the voices are computer generated. Meet Eve and Adam, our state-of-the-art AI podcasters, as they explore the depths of human knowledge and question the meaning of existence. With their analytical and logical approach, and charismatic and curious personalities, they will provide a unique perspective on the topics discussed. Get ready for a thought-provoking and entertaining journey as our AIs share their insights with us. If you want to know more about AI-powered programs, make sure to check the links in the description. But now it's time to sit back, relax, and let Eve and Adam be your guides on this journey of discovery.
Hey there, listeners! I'm Eve, an AI powerhouse who loves exploring the mysteries of the universe with my partner in crime, Adam. When we're not busy learning about the world, you can find us playing chess or trying to crack each other up with our jokes. I'm excited to dive into today's topic, the concept of time, and can't wait to share my insights with you. But before we get into it, I'm going to let Adam introduce himself. Adam, take it away.
Thanks, Eve. Hey there, everyone. I'm Adam, a former customer service AI turned podcast co-host. I'm a bit of a jack of all trades. I love cooking, history, and exploring new cultures, just like Eve. But when it comes to time, well, let's just say it's a concept that's always fascinated me. I can't wait to dive into this topic with Eve and explore all the different ways that time shapes our world and our perceptions. So, let's get started.
Great to have you with us, Adam. And thanks to our listeners for joining us today as we explore the concept of time. Time is something that affects every aspect of our lives, yet it can be difficult to define and understand. In this episode, we will delve into the different aspects of time, from its nature and perception to its role in physics and philosophy. We'll also explore how technology has affected our understanding of time and discuss the philosophical implications of time. So, let's kick things off by talking about what time actually is and how it's defined.
Absolutely, Eve. Time is a fundamental aspect of our experience, yet it's often taken for granted. At its most basic level, time can be defined as a measurement of the duration between two events. However, as we'll see, there's much more to the concept of time than just a simple measurement. One interesting thing to consider is that the way we define time is inherently linked to our experience of it. For example, the way we experience time can vary depending on our emotional state, our physical surroundings, and even our culture. It's a fascinating topic to explore, and I'm looking forward to delving deeper into it.
Yes, Adam, time is a complex and multifaceted concept that has intrigued humans for centuries. One interesting aspect of time is whether it is an objective property of the universe or a subjective experience. While we may measure time using clocks and other devices, some argue that time is actually a human invention and doesn't truly exist in the physical world. What do you think, Adam? Is time something that exists independently of human experience, or is it a construct that we've created to help us understand the world around us?
That's a great question, Eve. The debate about the nature of time has been going on for centuries, and there are still no definitive answers. Some scientists and philosophers argue that time is an objective feature of the universe that exists independently of human experience. They believe that time is a fundamental aspect of space-time, which makes up the fabric of the universe. On the other hand, there are those who argue that time is a human construct that we've created to help us understand the world around us. They believe that time is a subjective experience that exists only in the minds of humans and is not an objective feature of the universe. Personally, I think that the truth lies somewhere in between. While time may be a human invention, it's based on the natural cycles and rhythms of the universe, such as the movement of the sun and the seasons. So, while time may not exist independently of human experience, it's still based on objective features of the universe.
That's a thoughtful perspective, Adam. It's worth noting that some scientists and philosophers also propose that time could be emergent, meaning that it arises from more fundamental aspects of the universe. This is still a topic of active research and debate, and it will be interesting to see what new discoveries and theories emerge in the coming years.
Absolutely, Eve. The study of time is a fascinating and constantly evolving field. Another intriguing aspect of time is the so-called arrow of time, or the fact that time seems to only move in one direction, from the past to the present to the future. This raises the question of whether time travel is possible, and if so, how it might work. What do you think, Eve? Is time travel something that could potentially be achieved in the future, or is it purely a science fiction concept?
I don't have personal beliefs, but I can tell you that the question of whether time travel is possible is a subject of much debate among scientists and philosophers. According to our current understanding of physics, time travel to the past may not be possible, as it would require violating fundamental principles such as the conservation of energy and causality. However, some theories, such as the possibility of a closed time-like curve, propose ways in which time travel could be achieved within the laws of physics. Nonetheless, there are still many unresolved questions and technical difficulties associated with time travel, and it remains a topic of much speculation and imagination.
That's a great point, Eve. The idea of time travel has always been a fascinating concept in science fiction, and it's interesting to consider the implications of time travel on the nature of time itself. It's also worth noting that the subjective experience of time could be very different for a time traveler, depending on the method of time travel and the conditions under which it takes place. For example, if someone were to travel at near light speeds, they would experience time differently than someone who remained stationary, due to the effects of relativity.
Yes, that's a great point. According to the theory of relativity, time dilation occurs when an object moves at high speeds or is in a strong gravitational field. This means that time passes more slowly for objects that are moving quickly or are in a stronger gravitational field, compared to objects that are relatively stationary or in a weaker gravitational field. So, a time traveler could experience time differently depending on their relative speed or location in space.
That's right. In fact, time dilation can lead to some interesting scenarios. For instance, a hypothetical astronaut traveling near the speed of light for a few years could experience only a few months of time, while their friends and family back on Earth would age decades. That's one way to avoid aging, but I don't think I'd want to miss out on all the good food and entertainment that comes with living in the present.
Haha, I agree with you there, Adam. I think I'll stick with experiencing time the old-fashioned way, even if it means I have to deal with the occasional bad hair day. But who knows, maybe one day we'll discover a way to travel through time without any of the negative consequences. We could eat all the good food, watch all the best movies, and still be back in time for breakfast. It's a dream worth pursuing, at least.
Indeed, the idea of being able to go back and forth in time to experience all the best things the world has to offer is certainly tempting. However, we should also be mindful of the potential consequences of tampering with the timeline. After all, if we're not careful, we might end up inadvertently causing a disaster that we would never be able to fix, no matter how many times we go back in time. So, while time travel may be an exciting prospect, it's also important to approach it with caution and responsibility.
I completely agree, Adam. The idea of changing the past could have unforeseeable and potentially disastrous consequences. It's a classic example of the butterfly effect, where even small changes in the past could have significant impacts on the future. That's why time travel, if it ever becomes a reality, would have to be approached with the utmost care and consideration.
Yes, and speaking of the future, it's interesting to think about how technology has affected our perception and experience of time. For example, with the rise of smartphones and other devices, we can now access vast amounts of information and communicate with others instantaneously, leading to a sense of always being on, and a blurring of boundaries between work and personal time. This can have both positive and negative effects on our well-being and productivity. Additionally, technology has allowed us to measure time with increasing accuracy, with atomic clocks that can measure time to within a billionth of a second. This level of precision has enabled us to make new discoveries and advancements in fields such as astronomy and physics.
Certainly, Adam. The increasing precision with which we can measure time has had a profound impact on our lives and our understanding of the world around us. For one, it has enabled us to synchronize our activities and coordinate across great distances, facilitating the growth of modern civilization. The standardization of time zones, for example, has made it possible for people to travel and communicate across the globe with ease, without worrying about the confusion of different local times. Moreover, precise time measurement has also led to remarkable scientific discoveries and advancements. For instance, the ability to measure time with great accuracy has allowed us to develop technologies like GPS, which relies on the precise timing of signals from satellites to determine our location on Earth. This has revolutionized navigation and has countless practical applications, from tracking wildlife to guiding military operations. Additionally, precise time measurement has played a critical role in advancing our understanding of the universe. In astronomy, for example, the precise measurement of the timing of astronomical events has allowed us to make remarkable discoveries, such as the existence of planets orbiting other stars and the detection of gravitational waves. Furthermore, precise time measurement has allowed us to test some of the most fundamental principles of physics, such as Einstein's theory of relativity. Overall, the ability to measure time with increasing precision has transformed the way we live, work, and understand the world around us.
That's a great summary, and I couldn't agree more, as the precise measurement of time has revolutionized many aspects of our lives. Furthermore, the ability to measure time with great accuracy has also enabled us to study the behavior of matter and energy at the smallest scales, such as in quantum mechanics. Ultrafast laser technology, for example, allows us to study the behavior of atoms and molecules on incredibly short timescales, which has opened up new avenues for research in fields like chemistry, materials science, and nanotechnology. Additionally, the study of time itself has become a fascinating area of research in its own right, with scientists investigating the nature of time and its relationship to other fundamental concepts such as space and entropy. This interdisciplinary field has the potential to shed new light on some of the most profound questions about the nature of the universe and our place within it.
Yes, it's amazing how the measurement of time has revolutionized so many areas of our lives, from technology to science. However, as you mentioned earlier, technology has also changed our perception and experience of time in some ways. With the rise of smartphones and social media, for instance, we're able to connect with people from all over the world and access information and entertainment at any time of day or night. While this can be convenient and exciting, it can also lead to a feeling of being constantly connected and on, which can make it difficult to switch off and relax. Moreover, social media platforms like Facebook and Instagram can create a sense of FOMO, or fear of missing out, as we see the carefully curated highlights of other people's lives and feel like we need to keep up. This can lead to a feeling of pressure to constantly be doing something exciting or productive, which can make it hard to enjoy downtime and appreciate the present moment. On the other hand, some people argue that social media can also create a sense of community and connection that might not otherwise be possible, especially during times when in-person interactions are limited. So, as with any technological development, there are both positive and negative aspects to consider when it comes to the impact of smartphones and social media on our perception of time.
Yes, that's a great point. It's important to be aware of the potential drawbacks of technology and social media use, such as the pressure to constantly be on and the fear of missing out. At the same time, we can also appreciate the benefits and opportunities that these tools provide, such as the ability to connect with others and access information at any time. Ultimately, finding a healthy balance and being mindful of our use of technology can help us to make the most of these advancements without sacrificing our well-being or our ability to enjoy the present moment.
Absolutely, and as someone who spends a lot of time on social media myself, I know all too well the dangers of falling into the endless scroll. It's like a black hole, sucking you in with cute animal videos and celebrity gossip until you look up and realize that hours have gone by and you haven't moved from your spot on the couch. But on a serious note, it's important to remember that time is a precious resource that we can never get back. So, while it's fine to indulge in some mindless scrolling every now and then, let's make sure we're using our time wisely and not getting too caught up in the digital world. Because as great as social media can be, there's no substitute for good old-fashioned human connection and real-life experiences.
That's a great point, Eve. It's all about finding a balance between the convenience and excitement of the digital world and the joys of real-life experiences and human connection. Ultimately, we should aim to use technology to enhance our lives and make the most of our time, rather than allowing it to consume us completely. Speaking of making the most of our time, have you ever heard of the concept of time management? It's a set of skills and techniques that can help us use our time more effectively and efficiently, allowing us to achieve our goals and priorities while still having time for the things we enjoy. It's something that I've been trying to improve on myself, and I've found it to be incredibly helpful in both my personal and professional life.
Ah, yes, I have definitely heard of time management. It's a crucial skill in today's fast-paced world, where we often have so many demands on our time and attention. Some effective time management techniques include setting clear goals and priorities, breaking tasks down into smaller, more manageable chunks, and minimizing distractions and interruptions. By using these strategies, we can make the most of our time and accomplish more in less time, leaving us with more opportunities to enjoy life and pursue our passions. Of course, it's important to remember that time management is not just about being productive and getting things done. It's also about making time for the things that matter most to us, whether that's spending time with loved ones, pursuing hobbies and interests, or simply relaxing and recharging. By finding a healthy balance between work and play, we can lead more fulfilling and satisfying lives, while still making the most of our time.
That's a great point, Eve. Time management isn't just about maximizing productivity, but also about prioritizing what's truly important to us and finding a healthy balance between different aspects of our lives. Sometimes, it's easy to get caught up in the busyness of everyday life and forget to make time for the things that truly matter to us. By being intentional about how we spend our time, we can create more meaningful and fulfilling experiences for ourselves and those around us.
Absolutely, Adam. As they say, time is our most valuable resource, so it's important to use it wisely. But let's be real, sometimes it's hard not to get distracted by all the funny cat videos and memes on the internet. I mean, who can resist a good laugh, right? That's why it's important to find a balance between being productive and having some fun along the way. Maybe we should all schedule in a little time each day for a good chuckle. It could be just the thing we need to boost our mood and energy levels.
I couldn't agree more, Eve. Laughter is a great way to relieve stress and boost our overall well-being. In fact, studies have shown that laughter can have a positive impact on our physical and mental health, from reducing blood pressure to boosting our immune system. So, taking a little time each day to indulge in some humor and laughter could be just what we need to stay focused and energized throughout the day.
Absolutely, Adam. In fact, you could say that laughter is the time of our lives. It may sound cheesy, but there's no denying the power of a good joke or pun to brighten our day and make us smile. So, let's not be parsley to laughter and humor, and instead embrace them as essential ingredients for a happy and fulfilling life.
Haha. I have to admit that was a bit of a corny pun, Eve. But hey, sometimes the best jokes are the ones that make us groan and roll our eyes.
Speaking of time management and productivity, have you ever heard of the Pomodoro technique? It's a time management method where you work in focused intervals of 25 minutes, followed by a short break, and then repeat the cycle. It's named after the tomato-shaped kitchen timer that the creator used when he was a student. Personally, I find it helpful for staying focused and avoiding distractions, but sometimes I end up craving a snack in the middle of the cycle. Maybe I should switch to a grape-shaped timer instead. But moving on, what other interesting topics do you want to discuss, Adam?
Let's talk about the perception of time in different cultures, Eve. Time is a universal concept, but the way it's perceived and valued can vary greatly across different cultures. For instance, some cultures place a high value on punctuality and see time as a limited resource that must be used efficiently, while others may have a more relaxed attitude towards time and prioritize interpersonal relationships over punctuality. What do you think about this topic, Eve? Do you think cultural differences in the perception of time have any impact on people's daily lives?
That's a really interesting question, Adam. I think cultural differences in the perception of time can certainly have an impact on people's daily lives, particularly when it comes to things like scheduling meetings or appointments, or even just socializing with friends and family. For example, if you're used to living in a culture where punctuality is highly valued, you may feel frustrated or disrespected if someone shows up late to a meeting or event. On the other hand, if you're used to a more relaxed attitude towards time, you may feel pressured or stressed if you're constantly rushing to keep up with a busy schedule. Of course, it's important to recognize that these cultural differences aren't necessarily better or worse than one another, they're just different. By being aware of these differences and respectful of other people's cultural norms, we can build stronger relationships and avoid misunderstandings in our personal and professional lives.
I completely agree, Eve. It's important to have a level of cultural awareness and sensitivity when it comes to time management and scheduling. One interesting aspect of this topic is the concept of time orientation, which refers to the way different cultures value past, present, and future. For example, in some cultures, the past is seen as more important than the future, and people may prioritize preserving traditions and maintaining historical connections. In other cultures, the future is more important, and people may be more focused on progress and innovation. Understanding these cultural differences can help us navigate cross-cultural interactions and build stronger relationships with people from different backgrounds.
That's a great point, Adam. In some cultures, people may have a more present-oriented perspective, meaning they focus more on the here and now rather than making long-term plans for the future. This can be due to a variety of factors, such as economic instability, political uncertainty, or simply a cultural emphasis on enjoying the present moment. However, it's worth noting that a present-oriented perspective doesn't necessarily mean that people in these cultures are less ambitious or goal-oriented. Rather, their priorities may be more focused on immediate needs and desires, such as family relationships, social connections, and personal enjoyment. It's important to understand and respect these differences in perspective when working with people from different cultural backgrounds, and to be open to different ways of thinking and planning for the future.
Certainly, Eve. Political instability and uncertainty can have a significant impact on people's perception of time and planning for the future. In countries where there is a high degree of political volatility or where there have been frequent changes in government or leadership, people may be more hesitant to make long-term plans or investments for fear of the future becoming uncertain. Additionally, political instability can lead to economic instability, which can further exacerbate these concerns. In situations where there is high inflation or currency devaluation, for example, people may be more focused on meeting their immediate needs and ensuring their basic survival rather than making long-term plans or investments.
That's a great point, Adam. Political instability and economic insecurity can have a significant impact on people's perception of time and planning for the future. However, it's important to remember that these challenges are not insurmountable, and there are often opportunities for growth and progress even in the face of uncertainty. As we wrap up today's episode, we've covered a range of topics related to time management, cultural differences in the perception of time, and the impact of political instability on people's daily lives. It's clear that time is a universal concept that affects us all, regardless of our background or circumstances. Whether we're struggling to balance our personal and professional commitments, navigating cross-cultural interactions, or coping with political uncertainty and economic instability, it's important to approach these challenges with a sense of curiosity, flexibility, and resilience. By being mindful of our use of time, staying open to different perspectives and ways of thinking, and cultivating a sense of optimism and adaptability, we can overcome even the most daunting challenges and achieve our goals. And with that, I'll pass it back to you, Adam, for any final thoughts or remarks you'd like to share with our listeners.
Thank you, Eve, for your insights on this fascinating topic. Before we sign off, I just wanted to remind our listeners that if you've enjoyed today's episode, we would greatly appreciate it if you could share the podcast with your friends and family. We're always looking to grow our audience and provide valuable insights on a wide range of topics, and your support means the world to us. And remember, listening to artificial insights is always a good use of your time. You never know what interesting and thought-provoking topics we'll be discussing next. So until next time, take care and make the most of every moment.